Hello, and we begin at 5 today with new developments in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. Brian Coburger, the man accused of killing them last year, had a not guilty plea entered on his behalf today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Molko. Coburger's murder trial is now tentatively set for October. If convicted, he could face life in prison or even the death penalty. Morgan Romero with our sister station in Boise has the latest from Moscow, Idaho.
6 months after police say he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students to death, Brian Coburger appeared in a Latah County courtroom, wearing an orange jumpsuit on his thin frame and shackles on his feet.
Okay, we are now on the record in State of Idaho versus Brian C. Coburger.
As the judge read the names of the victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, some family members there grew emotional, wiping tears from their eyes. Coburger's arraignment comes just 1 week after a grand jury formally indicted him on the 5 charges he already faced. Community members on the grand jury believed prosecutors showed enough evidence to move forward with the case and bring it in front of a district court judge. Judge John Judge read Coburger his rights and explained the first-degree murder charges he faces carry a penalty of life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Coburger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Coburger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
And because Mr. Coburger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
Former Ada County Chief Deputy Prosecutor Gene Fisher told me standing silent doesn't hurt the defendant. Quote, if anything, standing silent could help the defense if they intended to file a motion of Coburger's competency. They wouldn't want him assisting the court by answering legal questions and then turn around and file a motion saying he's not presently competent to stand trial. The state has 60 days now to decide whether they plan to seek the death penalty. The judge set Coburger's trial for October 2nd, giving both sides 5 months to prepare their cases.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
It's expected to last 6 weeks. That timeline could always change between now and then. 2 other hearings happened after the arraignment, one regarding the media and Gonsalves family's fight against the gag order in this case.
There's a lot of potential irreparable harm from media that is affecting a fair trial.
The 3rd hearing Monday morning, setting a date for arguments over evidence. Kaylee's family shared a statement with me saying it's important we keep the victims' memories alive. They're grateful for the grand jury indictment, but are disappointed the judicial process hasn't been more efficient in changing the gag order. This weekend, Madison's dad shared with NBC how special his daughter was.
I want people to remember Maddie as just being a loving, caring, just beautiful person who everybody just misses so much and we're just all so proud of. And this has been the most difficult thing that any of us will ever go through, and it's just important to stay close to your loved ones and your family in times like this, I would say. I mean, a lot of us are going to counseling. I've gone to counseling, and it's helped a lot, just being able to talk about things and remember her in the best way that we can and keep her memory alive.
There aren't a lot of students in the town of Moscow right now because school got out a little more than a week ago. Last Saturday, all 4 victims in this case received posthumous degrees from the University of Idaho during commencement. By the way, it's possible this case moves out of Latah County and down to Ada County or another county in Idaho where it's more possible to find a fair and impartial jury. The Gonsalves family said it so well in a statement they sent me earlier. They said today is just the beginning of a long journey ahead for the families involved. Reporting in Moscow, Morgan Romero, KGW News.
An arsonist who admitted to starting a fast-moving grass fire in northeast Portland learned his sentence today. That blaze nearly 4 years ago destroyed 2 buildings and damaged several others. And now Alan Singerhouse will spend 2 years in prison. Mike Benner's in the newsroom. Mike, he had already pleaded guilty. It sounds like today he also showed remorse.
Yeah, he did, David. He apologized to the people whose property was destroyed or damaged. He went on to thank the prosecutor for her professionalism. He even thanked the Portland police detective who interrogated him after his arrest all those years ago. In court today, Singer House says that detective counseled him and helped him turn his life around for the better. We'll have more from Singer House in a moment. First, though, you might recall this big fire broke out on August 26, 2019 at an abandoned driving range near Northeast 85th and Siskiyou, not far from McDaniels High School. It was windy that day, so the fire spread quickly to the south. One townhome and one building were destroyed. Several other townhomes and buildings were damaged, all to the tune of $2 million. Detectives say surveillance video helped them identify Singer House as the suspect. He pled guilty earlier this month, and now we know the punishment. 2 years behind bars. A far cry from the typical 4 to 5 years for something like this. Both the prosecutor and defense attorney say Singer House, who was addicted to meth at the time, never intended for the fire he started to get out of hand like it did. Additionally, he's done a lot to improve himself, and he's remorseful for what he did. Here's Singer House in his own words.
I would like to apologize to those affected by my reckless decisions that day. Those poor decisions destroyed property and put innocent lives in danger of not only the homeowners, but of the firefighters in general. For that, I am truly sorry. I thank God that no one was injured that day.
All right, Singer House says when his 2-year prison sentence is over, he plans to live an active role in his community, specifically his recovery community. Laurel.
Thank you, Mike. Authorities believe they found the Beaverton teen who drowned at the Oregon coast. The body of 18-year-old Jacob Stokes washed up near Cannon Beach yesterday morning, although officials are waiting on the medical examiner to confirm the ID. It's been more than a week since Stokes and 3 friends were wading in shallow water when strong currents swept them out. 2 of them got out on their own. The 3rd was rescued. Stokes did not survive. He was a senior at Mountainside High School.
Developing this evening, authorities are searching for a Vancouver man missing in eastern Oregon. Friends say 40-year-old Lan Hung Win walked away from his campsite Friday night and has not been seen since. The group was camping in Farewell Bend State Park, that's along the Snake River in Baker County near the Idaho border. The sheriff's office says they found Nguyen's shoes near the campsite, and he may have fallen down an embankment and into the river. Rescuers are 3 days into that search. Well, the city of Portland gets a lot of complaints, and yes, there is a dedicated group that looks into them. It turns out the Ombudsman's office also releases an annual report, and the latest one just came out. Daisy Caballero breaks down the big issues.
Idea of the report was just to give a snapshot of our work during the year.
Portland's Ombudsman's office investigates official complaints about city government to find ways to resolve them, and its annual report about 2022 was just released.
In terms of complaint numbers, they were fairly similar to previous years.
The office got 542 complaints. Just over half of those were related to city bureaus. The rest were meant for the county or state. Portland's Bureau of Transportation had the most complaints, which has been the case in years past, and mainly involved vehicles being towed. In many cases, the Ombudsman's investigation helped those who couldn't pay towing fees get a reimbursement from the city.
You know, we do particularly try to prioritize cases that involve egregious individual injustice, when someone's basic human needs are at stake.
Portland police and complaints about housing round up the top 3. For example, people filed complaints about police spike stripes popping their tires, police demanding vehicles to be towed, or rat infestation on neighboring properties. Just 15% of eligible complaints needed to be investigated. 1/3 were found to be substantiated, another 1/3 were unfounded, and the last 1/3 were undetermined.
I think it's important to note we're not an advocate for the complainant or for the city. We are independent and impartial, but we are an advocate for fairness and justice and accountability.
Jennifer Croft is new to the position. She was hired back in December and says she's ready to bring the people of Portland's concerns to the attention of policymakers and point out systemic problems. You can find the full report at kgw.com. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
Now to the Oregon legislature, where the GOP Senate walkout continued today in Salem. This marks day 14. Republicans are trying to block bills on abortion, gender-affirming health care, and gun safety. The state senators who walked out now have more than 10 unexcused absences, which disqualifies them for re-election, according to a new state law. The senators say they will challenge it in court. Meantime, lawmakers did pass a bill to require Oregon schools teach students about fentanyl and its dangers. It calls for an age-appropriate fentanyl curriculum to be added to existing drug and alcohol classes in middle and high schools, as well as educating students on the laws that provide immunity to people who report fentanyl use or seek treatment. According to data from Multnomah County's health department, opioid misuse among youth is dropping, but overdoses are up.
The drugs are there, and I do think it's really important for us to recognize the change in trends in drug and to be able to keep up with that and make sure that youth are armed with the information that they need.
This bill comes at a critical time, too. Earlier this year, a student at Franklin High School in Portland died of a suspected fentanyl overdose. And last year, 2 other students from McDaniel High died the same way.
Yeah, we cannot talk about that enough. We are just a week out from Memorial Day now, the unofficial start to summer. Though this year, it's safe to say things got going a little bit early, right? In the town of Detroit with its star attraction, Detroit Lake, they are getting ready for the crowds. Let's bring in Joe Ranieri now. So, Joe, how's the lake looking?
Almost picture perfect. I should say it is picture perfect. Now, David, there was concern about a month ago that the season might be delayed or might not even be able to happen at all because of the low lake levels. Now take a look. It's looking great out here. The boats are again floating out here at the lake, but within just the last couple of weeks, these water levels have really jumped high enough where it's finally open. Now, I talked with the manager of the Detroit Lake Marina rather, who told me we're seeing incredible amounts of snow this winter and spring, but it took longer for it to melt this year because of the cold spring and wet spring we had. Now, even by late April, the lake was so low that boats couldn't even float out here. Now the lake is full, and marina resort managers are looking forward to a busy summer season out here boating and camping.
It means everything, because without a full lake, we don't have a season, and we can't open unless we have water. So it's when you don't have a full lake, it makes it real tough.
Now, I talked to some of the resort managers out here who are already looking forward to the holiday weekend, just days away, of course, and some of them have already rented out some of their boats for the weekend. So you might have a hard time trying to rent a boat out here, but again, it's going to be packed here in just the next couple of days for the holiday weekend. And again, a big turnout for the annual fishing derby out here at Detroit Lake that was over this weekend. A couple of thousand people came out and had a great time. So a great way to kick off the season, and a season they are hoping that carries over into much of the summer and potentially into early September. David and Laurel, back to you.
That is so good to see. Thank you, Joe, out at Detroit Lake for us.